What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another live stream. Feeling much better today, by the way. Still got a little bit of a cough. But, all in all, I feel so much better. So, I appreciate everybody wishing me to feel better last stream. I don't have a ton of stuff to talk about today, but there is a couple of things that need to be said. So, make sure before we actually get started, though, pay your bar tabs, hit that like button, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's free, and at 10,000 subscribers, we are going to be giving away 10,000 Caspa. 10,000 Caspa. Whenever that decides to happen. So, subscribing's free, and it will get you entered into the drawing for 10,000 free Caspa. And it's free to subscribe. As you guys know. I think most of you guys who are already here probably already subscribed, but Hee-haw. Hello, Hee-haw. Welcome in. It's your first time? First time commenting, at least, unless you change your name. So, let's jump in. Few things here. First things first, I wanted to show you guys this email I received from Tangem, because I think it was last stream where I said that I've heard some people. I've heard that some people have gotten their email from Tangem, and that their card, right, their Tangem Pay card, is ready to go, and I guess you have to sign up. So I haven't done any of the sign-ups or anything, but I'm going to show you guys the email because I want to show you guys what it looks like, and I will report back as soon as I actually get signed up and use Tangem Pay, to let you know what the fees are and how easy it is and if I think it's worth it, and all of that good stuff, because I've been waiting for this for a while. I know some of you guys have too. Let me pull up my internet real quick. So this is what the email looks like. Your Tangem Pay is ready. Issue your Visa card, whatever that means. Your Tangem Pay is ready. Issue your Visa card. I think they left out a word there. So it says, great news, your Tangem Pay is now ready. You can use your Visa payment card in just a few minutes. What is Tangem Pay? Blah, blah, blah. We already know what Tangem Pay is. Before you get started, please make sure that you have installed the latest app version, that you have open acknowledgement. You open the activation link by tapping it directly from this email. Reboot your device, and make sure your VPN is switched to off. So then, you're gonna update. Well, we already said that. So it basically just gives you, I'm not going to read all this, it basically just gives you step-by-step how to do it. There's a QR code down below. I'm not going to show it on the screen because if it's personalized for me, I don't want any of you guys, no offense, to start pausing the video and taking photos of my QR code. I don't know what that would do to me or my account. So that's basically it. And again, like I said, it's cool that this is now ready to go and active in the universe now, and I will report back as soon as I get set up and, use it. Give it a little test drive at the grocery store or something and see how easy and cheap or expensive it is via fees. And that way, it'll give you guys a better idea of exactly what to look forward to, and maybe if or if not, you even want to go this route. So, next up on the list, we are going to look at, well, this is big news. Obviously, we knew stablecoins were coming at some point. Shout out to Crypto Pumps, him and Quit Crypto on their new live show for blockchain banter that they do. Now, this was their first week. They'll be doing it every week, I believe, from here on out. So make sure you guys look out for that on a weekly basis. But Crypto Pumps posted this short clip on X. This is part of their, talk with Caspador and Ashton from Nacho the Cat. I think he has other endeavors as well now, but originally from Nacho the Cat. I'm going to play this real quick so you guys can hear it for those of you who haven't heard it yet.
We had a lot of meetings with stablecoin issuers. This is work in progress. This is I see daily updates from our colleagues testing and doing different stuff. Again, I'm not going to be very specific about this, but I would say yes, Q1 2026 should definitely have stables on Caspa.
Oh my God!
Via Casplex, and again, I cannot say if it's going to be native or bridged because I don't want to break any NDA, right? So Jay, yeah.
So it sounds like on Casplex, right, the L2 stablecoins this quarter are going to be live. He wouldn't say if it's bridged or native. I hope it's native because I, for one, don't like bridging things, and I think probably majority of us can agree with that it's just an extra step. It's kind of a dangerous step because you're trusting this bridge, with your funds from one portion of the chain to the next. And it's also not easy for people coming into the crypto space to use a bridge. It's just an extra step, an extra layer when crypto may already be hard for them, right? So let's hope it's native, but nonetheless, stablecoins are coming, which is huge because I think that ultimately one of the biggest narratives on Caspa is going to be stablecoin use. Egra Labs also is in a test phase for mainnet launch right now, and I think that they've already said to us that stablecoins are going to already be ready to use on the network on their L2 when they do launch. So we're going to have both L2s stablecoin friendly and stablecoin ready, it sounds like fairly soon. And again, this is big because stablecoins are literally the biggest use case that propels any blockchain, or block DAG in this case, in the space. They account for a massive amount of transaction volume, and we just want some of that transaction volume to come over to Caspa. I think it's going to happen naturally, gradually over time, because it's the most suitable, right? As far as speed and security and the cost, right, to do business over there is far cheaper, fraction of a cent, than other chains. And so I think eventually it's going to, potentially dominate the stablecoin space. But time will tell, right? We're not there yet. And again, I want to reiterate here that Caspa is not an investment that's going to, I guess, make you rich overnight because it's not a pump and dump scenario, right? There's no VCs to pump the hell out of the coin and then dump on you 2 days later, right? So you get your big old pumps and massive dumps. Caspa, I think, is going to be kind of a slow stair step upwards, right? Obviously, there's volatility in crypto. It's not going to be immune to that by any means. But I think its growth is going to be a little slower because of the way it was launched, because of the way it was incepted. And I think that's, the reason why we like Caspa in the first place. And so we can't be mad if things take a little bit longer than they potentially did, with other coins, like something like Solana, right? It seemed like overnight that chain just immediately grew. It's because of VC backing and, the team behind it, their marketing, all that kind of stuff, which Caspa doesn't do. But I think over time, you're going to see those projects that had a very quick rise to stardom kind of fade out over time, and you're going to have the grassroots projects like Caspa that just instinctively and naturally are breaking, barriers in this space, end up rising to the top over time. And that's why I think Caspa is a very good long-term hold. I know I preach to take profits, and I do wholeheartedly agree with that, but I'm also keeping a bag for long-term. So that's beyond the point. But that's also why I invest in other projects as well that are VC-backed, so that I get the best of both worlds, short-term and long-term. Moving on. This is interesting, and I wanna dive into this for just a quick second, because we talked about this on last stream. For those of you who don't remember, it's crazy. Satoshi Nakamoto is now the world's 12th richest person, and still no one knows who he is. Well, some people probably know who he is, or they are. But think about that for a second. Remember how I told you that people were telling you that Caspa is not decentralized, and that wallet number one holds way too much of the supply, and that it's worrisome, and that there's too many big wallets. I did the math on this, and first of all, the fact that this wallet is the 12th largest entity or person, right, in the world, is just insane, because it's one crypto wallet that was, I assume it could have been pre-mined way at the beginning of Bitcoin's inception, right, or before Bitcoin's inception. Now, I did the math, and the amount in percentage that the Satoshi wallet holds is anywhere between 4.8 to 5.5% of the total supply of Bitcoin, right? And if you look at wallet number one for Caspa, wallet number one holds 5% of the supply of Caspa. So it's literally exactly the same scenario as the Satoshi wallet. No one talks about that, right? It's because it hasn't moved. None of the funds have moved since day one. But at some point, right, if this group of people, or some of them, or whoever this is still alive, right? Everybody just claims that they're dead, but nobody knows that. It could be a government entity that owns this wallet, right? That created Bitcoin. Nobody knows. And eventually, if something moves out of this wallet, I don't know what's going to happen, right, in the short or long term, because it's going to cause an extreme panic attack over the whole entire Bitcoin network, right? But the moral of this story is that Caspa's wallet number one holds the exact same amount of supply in Caspa, relevant to its overall supply, than the Satoshi wallet holds to Bitcoin's total supply. And so it's the exact same thing. Now, you could argue this wallet has not added anything, right? It holds roughly 5%. And you could argue that wallet number one is going to continue to buy, which might be true. We don't know that for sure. Maybe they only wanted 5% of the supply. Maybe they want more. I don't know. But as of right this second, there's not really a huge argument on, to anybody that tells you that that Caspa is inferior because of the fact that their number one wallet holds so much Caspa. Because Bitcoin's top wallet literally holds the exact same in percentage. So, another talking point, or arguing point, or debating point for anybody who tries to mess around and say anything about Caspa's wallet number one and how much Caspa they hold. So, next, Grok. This is BSC Gems alert on X. Grok says alt season is coming in 2026. So they asked Grok, and Grok said 2026 is when alt season's happening. That is hence the title of this video. Now, this is just AI, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's interesting nonetheless. We have to look at all scenarios, right? We also have the Fed injecting $55.3 billion over the next 3 weeks, starting next Tuesday. They're officially launching one of the biggest QE programs in U.S. history. Giga bullish for the markets, okay? So we're going to look at some things that kind of hint that alt season might be coming soon. But on the other end of that scale, well, you could technically say it's the same end or the opposite end. I'm going to look at this right here. CZ says super cycle. Tom Lee says super cycle. Brian Armstrong says super cycle. Michael Saylor says super cycle. BlackRock says super cycle. Fidelity says super cycle. They are all bullish at the same time, and you're still waiting. On the surface, that looks super bullish, right? But I would also argue that anytime these guys say anything, it typically is just to allow others to buy the bags that they're selling at higher prices, right? Tom Lee says every single cycle that Ethereum's going to $7 million. That's an exaggeration. He usually says like 20,000 or something. But he said it last cycle. He said it this cycle. And yeah, there's a chance this cycle is not over yet. There's also a chance that it is over. And nothing he says ever comes true. Cathie Wood's always the same thing. Says, I think Cathie Wood said that Bitcoin would hit $1 million last cycle. And as we all know, it didn't come close, right? All they do is hype up. They're like hype men, basically, because they want retail to come in and buy, raise the price, up. And then they sell their bags at the top. Retail gets stuck holding their bags through the bear market. So, this tweet right here might be super bullish, also might be super bearish, based on history. But the one thing I do know is we're all going to be here to find out. Right? As long as you don't go anywhere, then you're going to be able to find out. But that's why I say it is important to make sure that you're set up for any scenario. If all of these big people here, big companies here, are correct, that your bags are packed and you're ready for alt season. Okay? If they're not correct, and they are just trying to fake everybody out, which I tend to think is what they always do, then you've got to be in a position where you can still continue to DCA, and if we do get flash crashes, have some sort of buy alerts set up for certain prices, so that if those crazy low prices do happen, then you're able to buy some up at those crazy low prices. And so you got to be prepared for both ends. And eventually, right? Eventually, at some point in time, whether that be this year, whether that be 2029, or somewhere in between, we are going to see an alt season. And we just need to be prepared, right? For either scenario. DCA in the meantime until we get an alt season. The best way to do it. Time in the market beats timing the market. I've stopped really caring at this point in time about the price action, because I've now been waiting for 4 years, right, for an alt season, and it hasn't come. And my mindset at this point is to just mindlessly DCA. I'm going to check the market probably once a day or so. I'll get alerts if things start going crazy one way or another, and then I can pay attention. But it's getting to a point where I'm just bored. It's getting to a point where I know at some point that I'm going to make it. But mindlessly DCAing right now is what suits me the best for my I guess for my stress levels, because I'm a pretty easygoing guy to begin with, but I think more than anything, it's just the toll that it's taken mentally on, checking the charts every single day, I don't even know how many times a day, but a lot, for 4 years straight now. And obviously before that, I was in the market as well. But I'm just talking about since the last top into the bear market until now. It's been 4 years, and I think we're all just tired, anybody who's been around that long, or longer for that matter, just waiting for our opportunity. But just keep in mind that all of the macro headwinds should be out of the way by middle of this year. And history tells us, right, it's not a guarantee by any means, history tells us that once the macro headwinds are out of the way, liquidity is being, pushed into the market, then things further down the risk curve, like altcoins, for that matter, tend to start doing very well. And so I don't know if it's going to take the same amount of time from 2019 to 2021. It could be faster, could be longer, right? But nonetheless, at some point in time here, we are going to start seeing positive movement. And it may not be, until the end of this year, for all I know, right? If Bitcoin technically topped in October, then we may not see a bottom until October. It's possible. We may see one sooner. I don't know. But it goes back to if you can just take one thing from this video, it's be prepared, right? If for some reason we start going parabolic in the middle of this year, make sure you're prepared. DCA. And if we don't, no big deal. Just continue to DCA until we do get a parabolic run. It's that simple. And if that is your plan, you will eventually make a lot of money, regardless. Patience and wait for euphoria phase. Patience and wait to euphoria phase. DCA in between. And there's no chance that you're not going to do well, as long as you can be patient enough. Okay? That is word from the wise, and I'm the wise. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's get into some questions. Make sure you guys get your questions in comments if you have them. And we will spend the next half hour answering questions and just hanging out and talking about Caspa. Because that's what we do here. Talk about Caspa. Hey, Kat. Glad to see you're feeling better. Green tea in hand. Cheers, buddy. Appreciate you, Dad Journey. Appreciate it. I appreciate you being here literally every single Friday. It means a lot. Hee-haw. He's a regular. First time commenting, though, I would assume. Unless you had a different name before. I hadn't seen the name before. But, thank you for being a regular. Appreciate it. Now, you're going to be ingrained in my mind. I know who you are now. Yo, what's up, Diego? Welcome in, sir. Okay. What are some things you dislike about Caspa? That's a good question, actually, because all we do is talk positively. I may have to think about this for a second, but off the top of my head, there's a couple things. One of them being sometimes the negativity you see in between the community gets a little bit childish at times. But I know humans are humans, and it is what it is. I'm sure it happens everywhere. So, like, that's not a huge issue. It's just kind of annoying sometimes. I saw the other day a couple of community members going back and forth about something. And I don't remember exactly what it was. I started getting into it, and then I'm like, this is like 3-year-olds on the playground in elementary school. Let's grow up a little bit, guys. And then the one other thing, and I don't think this is a negative either, but it can be kind of annoying, is just how slow, not the growth on the technical side, because they're doing an amazing job, but I think the growth on the like the getting in front of people's eyes side, right? You could argue marketing. And I know they don't have a marketing budget necessarily, so I know it's going to be slow. I know it's going to be grassroots. And that's part of why I like the project too. So these aren't necessarily negatives. It's just the security budget, right, is going to be coming upon us faster than Bitcoin security budget, and we need to somehow get to a certain point where there's enough usage on the chain so that the miners stay happy with the fees that are being accumulated, from transactions. And as of right now, that's not even close to happening. Though I will say, the KII, and I've mentioned this a few times too, but I'm like extremely excited about this part of it. The Kaspa KII has told us, and they're transacting in a sandbox right now, they call it, which I think is a test net period for them. But all of their energy companies, remember it's the 30 biggest energy companies in the world, all of their energy companies and the banks they interact with are going to be transacting and settling on Caspa. as soon as Egra Labs, I believe, is launched. I think that's the L2 that they're going to be going on. They may be making their own L2 for all I know, but don't quote me on that. But it was either Paul Van Son or Rory. I can't remember, one of the two. Both of them very high up in that company said that we don't need to worry about the fee structure because, I mean, you read between the lines, they think they're going to be doing enough transactions on a daily basis between them, right? And bringing in more companies at that the miners will be kept happy just with them alone transacting on a daily basis. And then everything else, meme coins and, God knows what else is out there. K-Social maybe takes off. Any other project that launches and creates, whether it be gaming or, whatever use case it might be, is just all cherry on the cake. Or is it frosting on the cake? Cherry on top? I think I butchered that. Anyways, you know what I'm trying to say. So the fees, in theory, should be taken care of, but it would be nice to start seeing those daily transactions start to climb. The other thing, too, if I were to put a third in there, I want to see some L2s that are seamless without bridges working with the L1. Because right now, Casplex, you have to transfer money from the L1 to the L2, then transact, and then if you want to go back to the L1, you have to transfer over a bridge again. It's kind of confusing for newcomers. Newcomers are not even going to touch that. I can probably guarantee you that. And even for people like me who've been in space for a while that have done a lot of different transactions on a lot of different blockchains, it's still a little confusing and a little annoying. And so I know for a fact anybody who's just coming in is not going to even know how, let alone want to know how to, transact between a layer 1 and a layer 2 with a bridge. So that would be the other thing, is seamless transactions. Kind of like, have you guys ever used the Phantom wallet with Solana? That wallet feels like a Web 2 app. Even though it's not, it's a Web 3, right? It's got a DEX built in. You can have all of your NFTs and stuff in there, and it's very easy to move around inside of there. That's what I kind of hope Caspa becomes, right? Where it feels like you're using Web 2 and that anybody who touches it is going to feel very comfortable and, it feels natural when they use it. It doesn't feel like you're using something super technical in the crypto space. That's what I think needs to happen. Make it very simple, very fast, and very fun for the user, and they will come. I wish I could develop something, but I have no idea how, because I have plenty of ideas. And I know it's possible because other blockchains have done it. Dung Knight, wow. My goal is 2 million Caspa for 2026. Almost a shark. That would be a pretty amazing feat right there. You would be setting yourself up very well for the future, that's for sure. Man from Bogota, welcome, buddy. Welcome back, I should say. I like your analysis. Caspa is going to have its own bull market. I think each coin is going to move independently unless BTC starts moving up, and all will do the same. Example, Zcash Monero. Yeah. So that's a good point, because think about what happened during. So let's just say, for the sake of this video, that well, it wouldn't even matter, right, if we've topped or we haven't topped. Altcoins haven't moved really yet. Some of them have. But we had a meme coin season, technically, right? We had a bunch of meme coins that ran. We had... Now, privacy has run. But I can't really remember anything else that's really run outside of that. Correct me if I'm missing something. Way back in like 2023, we had some stuff, right? We had like a little tiny bull market back then with some coins. But if Bitcoin doesn't move, then in theory, the rest of the altcoins aren't going to move. That being said, I think what happened was, right, let's say again for the sake of this video that we did top, Bitcoin topped in this last October. To me, that signals the institution part of things, but it also signals that since the vast majority of the altcoins did not run, and the vast majority of altcoins are worthless, right, with no use case or anything positive technically to bring to the space, that maybe this next phase is going to be utility coins and L1s. And Caspa fits right in that narrative. You wonder if from here on out we see mostly, let's like the tech matters again, right? Because it in previous cycles the tech did matter at multiple times during a bull cycle, right? Those coins would run. It didn't seem like tech mattered at all. It was like who could create the coolest meme coin and then pump and dump it from pump.fun on Solana. That's basically what we saw, is thousands of meme coins being created because pump.fun made it extremely accessible for you and I, if we wanted to create a meme coin without using any hard coding or anything. And that's basically what we saw, is meme coins launching at incredible rates and pumping and then dumping. And probably very few people made a ton of money during that. Because one, you have to sell, right? Even if you did make money, a lot of people probably didn't sell thinking it's going to go even higher. Or is there enough liquidity for you to even sell if you made enough profit? And because some of those were just like super low cap, created by some creepy dude in a basement that you don't even know what he looks like, eating bagel bites that his mom brought down the stairs for him while he's printing this cat or dog meme coin on the computer and trying to make some money. The liquidity involved in that is not going to be enough to sell if you made enough money that would make it worth it. So eventually, right? It's inevitable that eventually the tech matters again, and that utility coins are going to outperform everything else, at least for a period of time. And what better utility coin out there than Caspa? Especially once more and more people start to figure out what it is. Why do exchanges ignore Caspa while listing so-called great tech cryptos that fall short? Because they're giving them the bottom line is that those projects are giving them a portion of the token supply to list immediately. They can call them, great tech. They can call them whatever they want. But the reason why a lot of these projects are getting listings pretty fast is because the team behind these tokens at launch are just handing over these exchanges a bunch of tokens plus a fine. Well, it's not a fine. A certain amount of money in order to list them. And Caspa doesn't have, one, any money to give the exchanges, and two, doesn't have any portion of the supply to give to these exchanges either, because it was 100% fair launched. And that's why there's a delay in listing from a lot of these. But I think eventually the tech will win out, and they'll end up having to at some point. City Escape doing educational videos on Caspa now, formerly ICP guy. You know what? That's the guy that I need to go find, actually. I think. The one that said that he invested in ICP because of a certain technology, but now the VPROGs that Caspa's coming out with actually are far superior, and scalable, and I can't remember his exact words, but he's like, it literally creates a non-existent reason for ICP to be in the space. That's probably the same guy. I have to write that down, actually, because I've been meaning to go back and find that original video he did on Caspa's VPROGs. Casplex, KII, VPROGs, Eagra Labs, DAG Knight, $10 Caspa, 200 to 220 billion market cap is inevitable. I agree. And you know what's I mean, you can call it a double-edged sword technically, but the longer we go before we get like our alt season, the higher the total crypto market cap is going to be at that point, right? So technically that gives Caspa a chance to have a higher market cap than it would have if we topped in 2025. And so if we have to go out another year or two or whatever it might be, then you could argue that you get to accumulate at 4 cents for a longer period of time, and the market cap is it's got a chance to be higher than it would have been in 2025, just because the whole entire crypto market cap is probably going to be higher. So that's the one, if you want a silver lining to all of this, that would be it. Good morning, Infamous. It's obviously nighttime where I am, but I know you live in the Philippines, so clearly it's probably morning there. And no, Caspa is not $1 yet. And you know that. Stop being funny. Stop that funny business, Infamous. Oh, wait. I forgot it's going to 0. I hope that you are... I'm talking to you, Infamous. I hope that you are man enough that when Caspa does reach $1, that you can come on to my stream and apologize to all of us for being wrong this whole entire time. I'm going to hold you to that. Because I remember there was a stream that I had where Caspa was up like 30 or 40% in the day, and nothing else was pumping that day, and you somehow were non-existent on my stream. The one time. It looked a little funny. Almost like you were hiding for that one day. Hi, man. Hi, man. Caspa Finance is having public sale phase 1 now. What do you think? I don't know what I think. Caspa Finance is having a public sale phase 1? Caspa Finance, is that like a token that's launching on an L2? Is that a company? I don't know exactly what you're talking about there. Follow-up question. Yeah, I know. Are you talking about like Caspa Finance on X? A company? I'm confused. I'm sorry. There we go. I was waiting. I saw there was like a queue of more questions and comments coming in, but like they weren't showing up in my box where I could click on them and read them. But they finally came through, so. I guess Caspa Finance will be doing good since they partnered with Egra and said going to launch a SEX Tier 1. Interesting. So Caspa Finance is going to launch a centralized exchange, huh? That's the first I heard about that, but that would be interesting if they did. Okay. Infamous. I don't even know how to answer this question. I'm just going to skip it. I can't even. I'm not even going to go there with you. What's up, Gosu? I never know how to say your name. Gosu? I'll just call you Crypto. Yeah. I know, he likes to troll. It is what it is. I just hope... Infamous. I need you... I need you to promise me that you will be man enough. I still haven't seen your answer down here. When Caspa hits $1... let's just say if, okay? For your courtesy here. If Caspa hits $1, will you come back on the stream and apologize? I think we all want to know that. Will you be man enough to say, I'm sorry, guys, I was wrong. Caspa is the shit. And it did hit $1. You can maybe apply this to projects that are static. Projects that are built on being innovative might shoot up on good announcements, even if your tactical shards say otherwise. Yeah, that's a possibility, Beck. What if Infamous is really wallet number one? Makes us think. Okay, good. Good. Much respect if you did that, actually. If Caspa hits $1, I will come back on and apologize. I'm clipping this comment too, so you can't run from it. No. I never said we have to pick a date. You just said it's going to 0 and it's never going to $1. But if you wanted to pick a date, I think it's going to happen sooner than this, but let's just say 2030. If you're good with that. That gives us through one more full potential cycle. The dollar's already worthless, so it's going to be more worthless the further every year we go out, so it's hard to say when it's going to be worthless. Gosu wants you to do a face reveal, Infamous. Hey, do you want to get on stream with me? DM me on X, and I will allow you to come on stream with me, and we can do a joint stream. And we can talk about Caspa going to 0. What do you mean 2030 is easy? You mean easy for me to choose because it's so far out in the distance? What do you want me to say? Tomorrow? Like, what's the difference? The problem is we don't know when the next peak is going to be. So you can't say, I could say once we see the next euphoria phase, Caspa should hit $1. That might be 2029. That might be this year. I have no idea. It'll probably be in between that time frame. So 2030 is a good ending period for me. That should be, in theory, a bear market year. Which means 2029, we should see the dollar mark. If that is the... if that is the top. We may see it sooner. I don't know. All right, we'll take 2030. Everybody here on this stream is a witness to this whole scenario. We'll make not infamous shirts when Caspa reaches $1. And we'll all wear them for the stream. Look at the Caspa emission schedule versus price. Won't be worth anything to mine sooner or later. Neither would any crypto if the price doesn't go up. But that's the whole point of it. Bitcoin would be worthless too if the price never went up. Nobody would want to mine Bitcoin if the price never went. I mean, it's a useless argument because like Litecoin, people mine that, right? Because every cycle the price goes up a little bit. You can argue Litecoin the price doesn't go up that much, but yeah. Now I have a troll for 4 more years. That's right. As much as we disagree, I appreciate you coming on and having fun with us. I know it's all in good fun. Oh dear God, no. That's funny. All right, guys. I have to get off. I gotta go cook, get some dinner. So, I appreciate everybody for coming in and hanging out. And again, before you guys leave, make sure that you pay your bar tabs. Hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the meantime, continue to pack your damn bags before it's too late. See you in the next video.